Welcome to my video on indices. In this video, I will aim to go through the basic rules of indices. Rule number 1. When you multiply, you add the indices together. So 5 plus minus 2 is 3, so the answer is 3 to the power of 3. So the base number stays exactly the same, so if that's a 3, this will be a 3. But to get the power, you add the existing powers together. 5 plus minus 2 is 3. Number 2. When you divide and the bases are the same, you subtract the powers. But be very careful if the second power is a negative already, because that will mean 7 to the power of 2 minus 6, which is the same as 7 to the power of 2 plus 6, so 7 to the power of 8. Number 3. When you have a power on the inside of the bracket and also a power on the outside of the bracket, you multiply these two powers together. So the answer to number 3 would be 2 to the power of 3 times minus 4, which is minus 12. Number 4. Same as number 3, but the difference with number 4 is that you've got more than one thing in the bracket. And the key to remember is that both of the numbers inside the bracket has to be raised to the power of 3. So we do 2 to the power of 3, which is 8. 2 times 2 times 2. And x to the power of 5 to the power of 3. So refer back to number 3. If you have a power on the inside of the bracket and also a power on the outside of the bracket, you multiply them together. So that is 8x to the power of 5 times 3, which is 15. Number 5. This is just one to remember. A power of a half means the same as a square root. So 25 to the power of a half means the square root of 25, which is 5. And in the same way, a power of a third means the cube root. So that means the cube root of 27, which is 3, because 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. Question 7. 2 to the power of negative 3. Now this one is quite confusing because this negative doesn't mean that it's a negative number. It actually just means that it is a fraction. So what you do when you see a negative power is you write it as 1 over 2 to the power of positive 3. So if you see a negative power, write it as 1 over the same thing but with a positive power. So this is just the same as 1 over 8. Number 8 is a combination of the previous two rules. First thing you do when you see a negative power is write it as 1 over the positive power. So write this as 1 over 36 to the power of positive a half. And now if you look back at number 5, this is exactly the same. 36 to the power of a half is the square root of 36, so 1 over 6. Number 9 is quite a popular one in exams. So you've got a fraction raised to a power that is also a fraction. So what you need to remember with this is that the bottom number of this fraction is the root and the top number is the power. So for each number in your fraction, you need to first of all find the root and then the power. So if I take 4 first, 4 square rooted is 2, to the power of 3 is 8, so 8 at the top. Do the same with the 9. 9 square rooted is 3, 3 to the power of 3 is 27. And that's it. Number 10 is the same as number 9, but it also has a negative power. Now, if you look back at question 7, I said that if you have a negative power, you write it as 1 over the same thing, but with a positive power. But what do you do if it's already a fraction? You can't write that as 1 over that fraction. So when it's already a fraction, all you do is you just flip the fraction to turn the negative power into a positive power. So we just do this. So the fact that I flipped the fraction will turn the minus 2/3 into a positive 2/3. And now it's exactly the same as number 9. The bottom number is the root. So I do the cube root of 8, which is 2. And then I square it, which is 4. In the same way, I do the cube root of 125, which is 5, and then I square it, which is 25. And then finally, 12 to the power of 0. You just need to remember this one. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. So it seems really simple, but it does get asked in exams quite often. Okay, so look at the questions that I've got for you there. Pause this video, have a little go, and then I'll go through them afterwards. Okay, so let's go through these quickly. The first one, 2 to the power of 4 and n cubed to the power of 4. 2 to the power of 4 is 16. N to the power of 3 times 4, which is 12. Because if there's a power on the inside of the bracket and on the outside of the bracket, you multiply them. Number 2, really simple. When you multiply, you add the two powers together. So m to the power of 13. Number 3, very similar. You do 5 times by 1, which is 5. Then you work with the x's. You've got an x to the power of 4 and an x to the power of 2. When you multiply, you add the powers together. So that will be x to the power of 6. And do the same for the y's. If you have a y cubed and a y, remember that y is actually y to the power of 1. So that makes y to the power of 4. Number 4 is this case where you've got a fractional power again. Remember, the bottom one number is the root and the top one is the power. So the square root of 16 is 4. 4 cubed is 64. Number 3. So 5 can go into itself once and into 45 9 times. And then e to the power of 6 divided by e is e to the power of 5. So we've got 9e to the power of 5. F to the power of 8 divided by f to the power of 2 is f to the power of 8 minus 2, which is f to the power of 6. Number 6 means the square root of 9, which is 3. Number 7, when you divide, you subtract the powers, so y to the power of 2. Number 8 can be done in 2 stages. If you do the top, if you simplify the top, the numerator, you get 3 times 2 is 6, q to the power of 9 over q to the power of 3. So q to the power of 9 divided by q to the power of 3 is q to the power of 6. So 6q to the power of 6 is the correct answer. Number 9, 2 to the power of 5 is 32, x to the power of 5, y to the power of 15. Number 10, q to the power of 12. Number 11, negative power, so write it as 1 over 3 squared, which is 1 over 9. Number 12, 12 divided by 4 is 4, 12 divided by 3 is 4. Y cubed divided by y to the power of 5 is y to the power of negative 2. 13, negative power, write it as 1 over 4 squared, which is the same as 1 over 16. Number 14 means the square root of 36, which is 6. Number 15, square root of 64, which is 8. Number 16 is 1. Number 17, numerator will be 7 to the power of 5. Divide that by 7 and you get 7 to the power of 4. Number 18, first thing you do is you flip the fraction to get rid of the negative power. So that's now just to the power of a half. And that's the same as the square root. So square root of 100 is 10. Square root of 49 is 7. 19. First thing you do is write it as 1 over 25 to the power of positive 3 over 2. And bottom number is the root, so square root of 25 is 5. Cubed is 125. Number 20. To get rid of the negative power, we write this as 25 over 64 to the power of 2/3. Swap the fraction. And the bottom number is the root. Hang on a minute, made a mistake there. So you swap the fraction, and that's positive 3 over 2. Bottom number is the root, so the square root of 25 is 5. 5 cubed is 125, and square root of 64 is 8, and 8 cubed is equal to 512. So that is the answer to number 20. Okay, and that's all on indices for now. Thank you.